So I don't like vegans, okay? We're just gonna come in swinging, okay? I don't like vegans. Not in the fucking slightest. Okay? And I have lots of reasons for that. I've got a whole document here of reasons, and the reason I started like an extra minute late was because I was still adding on to that document as I was getting ready for stream because I thought of more reasons why I hate vegans. Here's the thing. Today's stream was going to be more balanced. It was going to be, fair. It was going to be like, give them a fighting chance. Like, they're not bad. They've got their own points and their own morals. No, fuck vegans, okay? The most annoying twats on the planet. The worst religion, veganism, okay? Goddamn zealots. More environmentally destructive than they lead on, yes? They're socially destructive, environmentally destructive, and I just don't like them. And hey, what are they gonna do? Eat you? Feed you to their pet salad? Alright. Vegans versus cyclists. Oh god, don't even get me started. Like, okay, let me go into my notes here real quick. Veganism touts itself as a noble mission to preserve living creatures' lives and to turn humans into herbivores. So KATYA self-loathing knife eaters, everybody. No, knife eaters
is self-loathing.
No, Yilves are not okay. Yilves aren't vegan. Okay, Yilves are farmers. That's different. I could get into that, but. I mean, I hate the hippies. That's another thing. I hate hippies. I hate drug-smoking hippies. I hate free sex, drug-smoking hippies. But that's a different thing. That's more of a Yilvish problem, I would think. I wouldn't actually know. I haven't been to the other continent. Anyway. It was gonna be balanced. Oh, so not like a vegan diet. Yes. Here's the thing. This was gonna be like a low-key, balanced stream. But somebody said something in the Variance community Discord that pissed me off, and it reminded me why I hate vegans in the first place. This was partially going to be clickbait, but no, I'm going all in purely to spite that one person in the Discord because I'm very angry at them for being obnoxious. I'm going to behave like a vegan and make everything at its most extreme. Okay. It is a nearsighted. The one guy. Yeah, I'm one guying to the moon. I don't give a shit. Anyway, it's a nearsighted and dangerous ideology. You can't make a dog an herbivore without killing it, right? Like people who try to have vegan dogs always end up like. They always end up severely, like, malnutrited? Malnutritioned? They end up dead. They end up turning into sticks. They end up vacuum sealing to their bones and they die. Humans are, by and large, not built to be plant exclusive as well. Unless there's, like, something genuinely very wrong with that individual. Or if like for religious reasons even, some humans don't consume certain meats and so their body doesn't get used to that protein, so eating the meat makes them sick. But that doesn't mean that they're vegan, that just means that they can't have certain meats. There's all sorts of people out there, and no diet is one size fits all, but trying to make everybody plant exclusive will inevitably make people very sick. And they try to do that to infants. Guess what happens? Malnourished! That's the word, thank you. Yeah. Our ancestors were not concerned about the planet, they were concerned about getting food in the bloody wild. Exactly. Oh, well, I'll get into that too. They're not just religious about their ideology, they often lean into extremism to the point where it's safer to assume that the person who just introduced themselves to you as one is likely at the kindest going to dissolve into meaningless, emotionful drivel, painting you out to be a monster. And at their worst, you can expect at their worst, you can expect childish, destructive behavior. Hello, Lady Katya. Hello, Lawrence. Eating animals is so bad that we need to stop animals from eating animals too. That's the thing, Unit. A lot of vegans do think that way.
They will not make me drink the Soylent.
Soylent Green is peepo. Soylent Green is peepo. I mean, like, the mission of vegans is to, like, save animals, to be kind to animals, right? The kindest you can be to farm animals would be to support local butchers and farmers when possible. That way you know that they were treated well, like, firsthand. But that is a luxury, even, that most people can't afford. And it's so naive to impose that as a standard of morality on others, right? A lot of vegans will say, well, if you're going to eat meat, do that. Why do we have to live by their moral codes? They don't even practice what they preach. A lot of times vegans don't source where their vegetables come from. They don't source where their soy comes from. They don't source how their almond milk is made. And trust me, that's far worse of an environmental impact than John Green down the road killing a cow once a year to feed his family. If I remember correctly, average vegan eats meat twice a week. That's crazy. Listening to this while playing as a cannibal in Fallout, by the way. Peak. Yeah. Composition of almond milk. 30k things. Composition of cow milk. Cow milk. You don't have to kill a cow to get its milk. I had various forms of almond milk. It was delicious, but probably overpriced to a degree. Well, it's not even just the pricing. To make almond milk, you have to use an absurd amount of water, and a lot of the land that you use to make, like, grow almonds on, it's like non-renewable. Like, you strip the dirt of all of its resources, all of its minerals. You can't properly fertilize it. You literally kill it. It's left desolate. You are permanently destroying acres and acres of land. Whereas with cows, you feed them, they shit. It fertilizes the grass, they eat the grass. The cycle goes on. Yeah? Sometimes you feed the cows a little more something special, maybe a treat. You take care of them, make sure they aren't disease-ridden. Cows in the wild don't get humans curating and making sure they don't have diseases. We're talking about how the farming industry is just destroying the environment. I'm not so much. I mean, it's part of it. It's more so along the lines of vegans trying to impose impossible standards of morality on meat eaters when they themselves don't hold themselves to that same standard, because it's impossible on both sides.
I am far happier and healthier on a meat-heavy diet. Just about all my problems are gone now. Turns out certain plant enzymes and grains upset me.
Exactly, like some people just physically aren't capable of going off a meat-based diet, and some vegans don't understand that. Some vegans will go, well, go totally plant-based and then pop pills every day. Have a whole phylactery every morning. Yes? Any diet that needs to be sustained by having an absurd amount of supplements isn't a diet that will let you survive long term. If the world goes to shit and your favorite pill-popping producer stops creating your specialty supplement, you're fucked. Because, again, vegan diets aren't built for humans to survive off of, so you will eventually die of your deficiencies. And whose fault is that? Okay, now, okay, sorry. I'm going through my notes because I've got my big page of notes. As an ideology, it is human second or even human last and animal first. It's counterintuitive to the nature instilled upon each individual at birth and is outright cruel to your neighbors to espouse. What about the poor and disenfranchised who can't afford the often toxic plant-based alternatives made of soy?
Meat-based instead of plant cringe.
I'm pausing stream right now. I'm making that a tweet. That's a good one. Hold on. That's meat-based instead of plant cringe. I'm also not crediting you, by the way. Let me just get... Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for providing me. Yes. Thank you. Beautiful. A militant vegan would have you believe that they deserve to die. Like the people in food deserts? Or those who just genuinely can't survive without meat products? Like, because meat products deliver condensed amounts of protein and nutrients not properly replicatable in non-carnivorous ways. You deserve to die. According to a vegan. You are not worth your life. Because an animal's life is worth more than yours. No. A lot of times that self-hatred of humanity is... Hold on. Anyway, a lot of that self-hate... A lot of that self-hatred of humanity comes... I'm sorry, I got very distracted for a second. It's instilled via shock value at very young ages. The death ping. What do you mean death ping? You don't even know what ping that is from. Anyway, vegan is a... I lost my notes. Hold on. Okay, shock tactics. Hi, Sable. Hi, Shinigami. The self-hatred of humanity is often instilled via shock tactics, to try and guilt naive children and the mentally fragile into its extremist movements, with campaigns of visuals and video of slaughterhouses and comparing human gore to animal, nudity, violence, destroying historical artifacts, actually attacking people and protesting in disruptive ways, like pouring blood, like fake blood, or paint all over floors, storming steakhouses and restaurants and screaming at patrons, screaming at children in carriages as their parents are walking past. Like, it is a campaign of fear and toxic bullshit. Like, there was a protest, I'm not sure if it was in England or in the States in the last few years, where they all sat in the street. Not the Stop Oil one. That was a different one. That's the stupid climate change people. Not that climate change itself is stupid, but the people that are very militant about it are stupid. Kind of like vegans. Usually lots of crossover, actually. The fact that Stop Oil is actually funded by the daughter of an oil baron, of an executive of one of the major oil companies, I think is something you need to think about. But no, there was a vegan protest where they all sat in traffic and they kind of waited there. They stopped like a multi-lane highway, and they blocked life-saving emergency vehicles and services, and a person in an ambulance died because of it. In other words, controlled opposition. Me when I'm controlling my ops. Like,
the only argument for vegans I've found acceptable is I think cows are too cute to die for my personal meal and they are cute DBH. Chickens, too.
yeah, you see, that's never gonna fly with me because I casually eat rabbits. And rabbits are delicious and they're adorable. And they're very sweet, kind, fluffy little individuals. They're wonderful little pets. But you know what? Meat rabbits are incredible sources of protein as well. And they replicate very quickly. They're a good supplementary meat in a diet. I wouldn't exclusively live on a rabbit meat diet, but having it thrown in there with chicken and beef and pork and all that. I can't eat pork because pork, the nitrates make me a little sick. But rabbit meat, very good, yes. But nothing is too cute to escape my molars. Morning, Katya. Morning. Vegans would have you believe that eating chicken eggs or drinking cow milk is abusive, and that shit is ridiculous. Major oil companies and pages on their official website have real climate changes. Never had an environmental strain. You know, oil companies, they have their issues. I still think nuclear power is the way of the future, and it's the way to go. And boomers decommissioning all of the nuclear power plants is one of the worst things that they've ever done. And I think ultimately, if there's ever a collapse of humanity due to environmental reasons, it'll be entirely because we missed on the nuclear energy train. It is the most sustainable, most sustainable long-term fix.
Am I too cute to escape your morals?
My morals? I mean, my morals? I don't have any. I have a lack of morality. But my molars? Yeah, get in here. Uranium fever. It's not very profitable. I mean, there's ways to make everything profitable. They just have to overhaul the system.
Rabbit itself has so little fat, it feels like I'm chowing down on the Sahara Desert. Have to lather that sucker in butter.
It's all about how you cook rabbit. Like, have you ever had it as Hassenpfeffer? Have you ever had it in a stew? You gotta cook it very delicately and very intentionally. Yeah. Another thing that vegans like to cure, just so much medical bullshit that they cannot back up. Like, veganism just blanket cures all diseases. One of my favorites that I saw while prepping for stream here was soy prevents cancer and keeps you eternally young. Like, soy prevents cancer. I'm like 99% sure that I've seen out there that an excess intake of soy actually causes cancer. As a vegetarian, I can't stand vegans. You see, that is an interesting conversation. I would say vegans and veganism, that is very cultish ideology, and those people are suffering from a lack of nutrition, and so they can't think clearly. Vegetarians have crossover with vegans, but they are very substantially different. There is no cult of vegetarianism, so to speak. Typically, a vegetarian isn't militant. They're just a little bit unfortunate. A lot of times, vegetarians, it's for religious reasons or for health reasons, or it is just a preference, like a vegan would claim, but vegans like to make it everyone else's problem. I very infrequently had an issue with a vegetarian. Vegetarianism for medical or financial reasons is fine. For ideology is cringe. Well, again, I would blanket religion under ideology. And there's also the pescatarians, which are basically vegetarian light, but they can have fish. Everyone hear about the vegan raw food diet influencer dying of malnutrition? I'm gonna be that asshole and say, you know what? Shit your bed and lay in it. If you're going to ignore every single person out there telling you that you're wrong and not look into it any further, if you're going to blindly believe in what you believe, the consequences of your actions are the outcomes you have to endure. The only time veganism looked cool was Scott Pilgrim. Lawrence, Scott Pilgrim was never cool. I think you need to die. I think you need to die. If you think Scott Pilgrim, if there's any Scott Pilgrim versus the World Enjoyers in chat, if anybody looked up to Ramona Flowers as potential girlfriend material, if you saw Scott and you were like, wow, he's me, I want you to know that I hate you. I think you're scum of the earth. Knives was cute. Knives was like an idiot child. Knives was annoying. Although Knives was probably the best character in all of Scott Pilgrim. They're horrible people and that's the point. Here's the thing, Meth Wizard. A lot of people, the point just goes whoosh over their head and they don't care. They're just like, wow, that's so me. And you know what? If the character that's designed to be annoying and unlikable is something that you find relatable, then I think you need to take a step back and think about things. I mean, when watching the movie, I legitimately didn't see any red flags in Ramona. Ah, yes, I have 7 evil exes that are actively hunting me down. That's not a red flag. What? Can I just step away from the vegan thing for a minute? How far has human society gone in the last 20, 25 years where it goes from, wow, 7 is an absurd body count to 7 is nothing. Nope, like nobody cares. Why is that scary? You like the game and the hentai. Yeah, of course you would. But no, like, during the time that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World came out, like, it was comical that Ramona Flowers had a quote-unquote high body count. Like, that was something seen as absurd and unreasonable and unrealistic, and so Scott was seen as pathetic for it. Reading the same media or watching the same media through a modern lens, she is like the least, like, she's the most inoffensive, least interesting female representation out there because she's like every other one and slightly better. And it just fascinates me. Only ranting about this because her body count is 0. I'll have you know, I'm too busy running a casino to care. I've got a whole whorehouse upstairs and I could increase my body count at any moment, but I decide not to. You know why? Because I'm better than everyone here. I'm better than all of you. Anyway.
Just remember there is nothing modern man can't propagandize. Bet you I can convince normies to suck on xenon lamps cause no one reads the fine print.
Bet you could.
Biash pu ul tikaribeo babiong zerio he beldix antlul.
You're really gonna say that on stream? Crazy. Ever since I introduced Yilvish to, oh, by the way, thank you for the 59.99 euro. Hola. Ever since I introduced new Yilvish to the community, it's been fascinating to see its usage casually. For those who are just tuning in, or those who haven't really been caught up, what Ola just typed was a phoneticized version of Yilvish that I introduced to the community back during debut. There is plans to incorporate more of that in casual use, and I'll actually have a stream breaking it down eventually. I'm still trying to develop it just a little bit more so it's more friendly on the phonetics. But yeah, have fun translating that. Hello, boss. I hope I'm not too late to the rant. I mean, I got through the meat of the rant already. Now we're just chilling. But yes. I feel when that show you never watched but are sick of looking at is confirmed to be trashed by a content creator because you're too late to watch it and judge it on your own. Bet. No, it's just... How can you be a vegan in this day and age and be so pro-animal but anti-human when the basis of the human experience is so viscerally animal?
You ever listen to the song Scott Pilgrim vs. the World ruined an entire generation of women?
Is that the one that goes, she saw Ramona Flowers and felt so empowered? I think that's the one. Yeah. No. Well, Katya listens to Incel Core. Taco! I want you to know that I will rag on everything till my face turns blue. Did you talk about their pretentious carbon arguments on meat? No. The carbon footprint of vegans is far more diabolical than the meat industry ever could claim. Hello again. Hello again. Friend of a friend. Okay, that song existed before Scott Pilgrim, okay? You leave the metric alone. You leave the metric alone. I love the song Gold Gun Girls, by the way. Did you know plants feel pain? Yes. Did you know that I feel pain? There used to be sun eaters, but they died out. That was not the breatharians. Well, I mean, the breatharians existed too. Extreme sect of quote-unquote veganism, where they believed that they could sustain their life via the sun and via breathing. No water, no food. The ones that actually practiced it properly died basically like in a week or two. The ones that faked it, they were like microdosing food when the camera turned off and then kept getting caught. Atrocity Guy did an amazing documentary on it. Microdosing food, Lamau. No, but the ideas behind veganism, they're in kind of like communism. The theory behind it is well-intentioned. But in practice, just like communism, it doesn't fucking work. Right? Like vegans, they want to reduce sentient harm and eat sustainably. But all it is just elitism. It's bad science. It's influencer bullshit. I have not seen a single vegan that hasn't tactically self-owned himself. I disagree. Communism was never actually well intended. Okay, Logan, yes, I know. I'm putting an asterisk there, but I'm trying to illustrate a point. I'm almost a vegan because it ain't in the budget. Honey, cheese, and coffee cream are the only animal products that I have been priced out of. Well, again, that is entirely, like, that's less of an active decision on your behalf and more of your circumstance. Some people can't afford meat, and some people can't afford meat alternatives depending on the food deserts they live in. Some people, it's infinitely cheaper to buy raw chicken than it is to buy blocks of tofu. Right? Like, the people need to get their protein somehow. And some people just can't get protein at all. Like, would you yell at a homeless man on the street for eating a burger if the burger was the only thing he could afford? If the burger wasn't a vegan burger? Like, no, bullshit. That guy is gonna eat the only thing he can find. I would eat fake meat if it was cheap enough. The fake meat isn't even that good. And the ones that are almost comparable go through so much processing, because, I mean, they are a processed product, that the health benefits or downsides of it haven't been studied. Like, it hasn't been around long enough to be properly studied, these highly processed foods. And we're finding time and time again that highly processed foods cause severe damage to you. Like, children that grew up eating, like, packaged plastic slop with red dye 40 have infinitely more health problems than children that grew up not doing such. What's the use of eating false processed meat if you're vegan? Stupid. Well, a lot of new vegans really miss meat. And they're in it for the ideology, not the actual diet of it. And so they, for a while, try to cope with fake meat. Or they're trying to trick their non-vegan friends into participating in veganism with them. Like, it's all just a pretentious circle jerk at the end of the day. Waiter, more processed slop, please. Oh, yeah. Like, the moral... I don't... Ugh. The issue is that veganism is also pretty elitist. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. It is a rich kids club. A rich kids club that feels like they have the moral high ground. People don't like us, but this is exactly why I started hunting 3 years ago. I can hunt 3 or 4 deer in one hunting season. I have the meat to stock my deep freezer for 8 months. Jackal, that's actually really awesome. That's actually really awesome. That's admirable. Do you butcher it yourself, or do you outsource the labor? I'd be very curious to know. I've been practicing in learning that trade myself. I actually do. I am picking up butchery as a skill set. As bullshit, lol, come on. A vegan dish costs less than €1. Meat's the expensive part. Taco Merp, do you know how expensive on the environment your vegan dishes are? Even if you found a really dirt cheap vegan alternative to a meat or to a protein that you could eat, the damage that fucking, like, almonds, for example, for your almond milk, do. Permanent damage to the landscape. Not renewable, not for a very long time. It rapes the earth dry. Whereas with a cow, you're not destroying the ground it stands on. You can still grow things there. You can still feed the cows over and over and over again. Almond milk tastes like pig? No, I personally think almond milk tastes delicious. Like, no, you can't. Get off your high horse. To truly help the environment by going vegan, you need to grow your own food, and even then, it needs to be local to your area's environment entirely. And you have to be very strategic. And then when the season is off and you can no longer grow your food, if you haven't stockpiled enough, you're fucked. Like, almonds require a great deal of water to farm, but I never close enough to compare how much cows or pigs consume. Yes, it's not just about the water, though. It's about the ground. The nutrients are stripped from the ground, Taco Merp. And yes, you can use artificial fertilizers, but it leaves behind, like, heavy salinated ground, and eventually the fertilizer just isn't enough. You actually need to totally re-chemically, like, process the dirt, and that is not good long term for what seeps into the vegetation. Like, you will be consuming that over and over again. You are not creating a good feedback loop. Whereas, yes, the cows, the animals, they consume a lot of water, but then they piss and shit it out organically, like fertilizer. It returns to the earth, and the earth underneath it stays still. It stays naturalized, undamaged. This is why we rotate the crops. Yeah, you'd think that people would do that. That would be in their best interest. Let's hope they don't resort to milking you-know-who. No, I think they should milk MILFs. I think they could milk MILFs. Like, eventually things will recover, but it'll take a long time. In general, agriculture has been made unsustainable because of how businesses are run. Entirely. Again, the kindest you can be to the environment is to support a local farmer. But again, depending where you are, and if you're in a food desert even, you're not anywhere near a farm, that is a luxury. And it's impossible to want to impose that standard on impoverished people below the poverty line. If you want to hold people to that moral standard, you have to hold yourself to the same standard as a vegan. Otherwise, you shouldn't talk. If you as a vegan don't know exactly where every single piece of your food comes from, if you don't know how that food, that brand of vegetable was harvested, then you genuinely shouldn't have a conversation. One might say, well, that's not fair. There's so much that goes into everything, it's impossible. It's like, well, if you want that standard out of meat eaters, then you should be able to, fulfill your own standard. Kind of like how if you're in the dating market and you're like, well, I want somebody that's tall, shredded, sexy, talented, and rich. Well, does the tall, sexy, talented, shredded, and rich person want a dopey, fat, stupid, lazy piece of shit who's ugly and has a bad diet and doesn't dress well? No. The attractive person who is doing their best in life is going to look for somebody that is also trying their hardest and their best. So don't dish it out if you can't take it on a dime. Sup, boss? Sup, Serge? Katya is a glass cannon. What does that even mean in this context? Vegans will sip a $12 smoothie and bitch to a single mother of 2 kids because they bought a small container, like a $5 container of chicken nuggets for their kids. I know that there is cheap vegan alternatives. I know they do exist, they can exist, but by and large, majority of them are not. I would like also to point out that most farms aren't the hellscapes and most vegans, even PETA, say they are. Most often than not, cows, chickens, and pigs are treated really well. Oh, absolutely. Again, it depends where you are in the world. Like if you're in India, for example, no, they are not. Animals in India, unless you are a single farmer, are treated so cruelly. They are treated exactly like you see in those PETA advertisements. But you can't say that because that's racist. Whereas European and American countries, I say American countries because there's the continent of America and there's like 4 big countries here. There is forced government standards. They're not always followed, of course, and they haven't always been in place, but in this day and age, going off of propaganda from the 70s to the 90s is disingenuous at best and manipulative at worst. What happened to vegans in the Karen Empire? I ate them. I ate all of them. The 4 countries of America: Canada, US, Mexico, and Alaska. Look. All I know about Earth's geography is what I have in my atlases that fall through the portal. And they're not very comprehensive. Sometimes I have to take a pot shot. I imagine vegan meat would be very tough and stringy. Do you eat the vegans like Scooby-Doo? Katya Vore. Not expecting that today. I would unironically participate in cannibalism if it was made a option. If cannibalism was made an option to me, I would try it. Cannibal Eels seem to be the other end of Elf Lamau. Cap? Oh, you want to call Cap on me? That's fine. That's fine. You go insane from that shit. Well, only if you eat a brain. You can get prions disease. Human meat processed properly is, in theory, perfectly safe. Sad that it takes a while to alter the mimetic stories that are in culture, like how people see nuclear power. They're still running on stories that pushed 5 decades ago. Oh, absolutely. Why do you know that? I've done my research, doll. Just like how some vegans do very half-assed research as to why they're better than everyone. I do my half-assed research.
Disregard consequences.
Yeah, kind of like how you can drink everything, but only once. Like, I want to drink liquefied plutonium. I can absolutely do that. Will I survive? Probably not. Probably. Who knows? I mean, I could give it a shot. If I survive and I still have everything intact, I'll let you know the outcome of my experiment on drinking liquefied plutonium. Drain cleaner is perfectly drinkable, but only once. Absolutely right, Alkavi. Chicken isn't vegan. Oh my god, Cobalt, don't even. Yeah. Is vegan water a thing? Is vegan air a thing? Come on now. Vegan equivalent implies a non-vegan equivalent. So vegan water can only be a thing if there's such thing as non-vegan water. So show me the non-vegan water and I will agree that vegan water is a thing. Now, I'm going to say this. I am fascinated but not entirely trusting of the carnivore diet. I do think that there could be potentially benefits to some of it for some people, but it's kind of like veganism for me, where it's like, well, you're missing some very essential things and you're going to have to, add supplements. That's not entirely healthy. She's pro-nuclear, pro-cannibalism, trigger-happy. Katya, you're a Fallout raider. I need to play some Fallout. It's amazing how such a soothing voice proceeds to say such insane dribble. What is insane about what I'm saying? Come on now. Carnivore diet is also done. More omnivores. Again, it's just... I see people go, oh my god, this is carnivore bread, and then they literally make a chicken meatloaf, and it's like, just make a fucking meatloaf and call it that, or just have actual bread. One thing I wonder is that European bread and European butter are different from American bread and butter, and again, it's entirely the processing behind everything. Apparently, people that say, well, in the States, I have to be gluten-free, but in Europe, I can have all the bread and stuff I want and I don't get sick. What's up with that? It's not the flour most of the time. From what I've read, the reason why that's the thing is the yeast in the States that's used for bread and the yeast that's used in Europe are actually two different things. They both have yeast in them, but in America they have different kind of chemical binders and preservatives.
I did carnivore for a year and it was the best I'd ever felt, but it was quite monotonous. It also got rid of various joint issues I had.
Well, I'm glad that it worked for you, but again, some people will die on the carnivore diet because they're going to be missing some key things. Like, do it. And as long as you're not religiously, zealotly pushing it on others, who cares? I'm glad that you're happy and healthy. But yeah, no, the wheat used in American bread and in American bread products, and even just sold in America, not the wheat, I literally just said it. What was it? The yeast. The yeast sold here has like one specific kind of preservative, and that preservative is something that a lot of people are actually highly allergic to or highly sensitive to. And so a lot of the, like, and you buy it off the store shelves, so even if you make it yourself here, sometimes you'll still get it with that preservative. But in Europe, it's one of those banned chemicals. And so everything is made without that preservative, and so it actually, goes bad sooner. But also people that assume that they were gluten intolerant can eat the bread products just fine over there. Now, I had an incident where I had received a very severe knock on my head a short while ago. I thought that I had supreme brain damage. Genuinely. Went to the clinic here in Chiron and...
Gluten? That's the guy running Russia, right?
Lamau. I'm eating vegan curry made from vegetables in my own garden right now. Delicious. A good thing about EO's dedication to keeping food as actual food. Okay, fair enough. Eat vegan curry. Are you gonna, tell us that we're all monsters and that we should, rape ourselves to death? Because we've eaten animals in our life? Or are you gonna just keep being a normal person? Because that's what separates the men from the beasts, in my personal opinion. Anyway, yeah, no, a little while ago, I thought I was suffering from brain damage, and they told me to go on a specific diet. They told me to fuck, what's it called? It's the one where it's like you're eating like 90% meat all of the time. It's not like a full carnivore diet. Now it escapes me, but I couldn't eat bread. I couldn't eat most fruits or vegetables. I could eat some of it. Keto, yeah, ketogenic diet. Apparently, if you have suspected brain damage, ketogenic diets are supposed to help with repair.
You do not have brain damage? Really? Aren't you a VTuber?
Lamal. No. So short term, I was keto, and I was miserable, but I was alright. Came out of it the other side okay. But I don't think I could ever personally do a carnivore diet. I have to have variety in my diet. Otherwise, I'm miserable. Yeah, apparently if you have brain damage, being on a ketogenic diet, the proteins in the diet are more accessible for the brain, and it helps with repair. So I've been told. Turns out the brain damage was just ingrown ears. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you, you piece of shit. Yeah. You know, here's the thing about vegans. Here's the thing about veganism. And not so much about vegetarians. I actually think vegetarians are fine. Here's the thing about veganism and vegans. It's entirely because of their moral grandstanding that nobody wants to listen to them. It's entirely because of it. If vegans didn't give themselves the reputation that they've earned, if they didn't act like assholes, if they didn't try to be so disruptive in people's daily lives, and they only talked about their dietary lifestyle when asked about it, you know, like every other person out there in every other kind of diet, except for the other weird, like, I don't know, carnivore diet people, they're kind of like vegans in that sense. I think people just genuinely wouldn't have as much of a problem, and they'd probably be more willing to give vegans, like, a fair shake and shot. They'd be more willing to listen to the arguments. But it's so much so you've aggressively pushed yourself upon me without my permission, and you're insisting that I'm a bad guy for literally just trying to live my life and exist. So why should I listen to anything you have to say? Because I personally don't see myself as a bad guy in my life for trying to exist in an affordable, reasonable kind of way, in a system built up around us that we cannot escape. Yeah. Veganism has ties to, in a large degree, with political ideology that encourages being obnoxious, abrasive, and belligerent. Bingo! I wasn't joking when I was comparing them to religions earlier. It's cult-like. If a CrossFitter who vapes is also a vegan, which one do they tell you about first? They tell you about that they're a cyclist. Hi there. Hi there, Decide is. Now, personally, if I was to make a tier list of the animals on scale from most to least edible, just like common scale of animals, I'd probably put fish and chicken in like the most edible. I'd put beef there too. From there, I'd put maybe just typically birds, game birds, deer, venison. I'd also put rabbits. From there, it gets complex. I feel like I'd be willing to try most other animals. Like, I'm like squid and octopus. Like cephalopods as well. Deer jerky is the best. Yeah, pork. Now, personally, I find pork to be very edible, but I just personally don't like it. That said, the way the world is at the moment, I feel like I have to include more pork in my diet. So, cephalopods? Cephalopods, right, that would be like, crabs. No, not crabs, that would be lobsters? That's the thing, like, things like lobsters, they are very, very similar to, bugs in their makeup. They're just under the sea and a lot bigger. Now, while bugs are edible, I wouldn't probably willingly eat bugs unless I had, like, no other option for, like, good protein. I know during World War II, they used to make stew out of dried, grinded up, powdered worms, and then they'd mix it with hot water, and they'd turn that into kind of a slurry. I feel like I'd be willing to try that. You know, I'd be willing to try the worm stew if I had to. I'd honestly eat onion nuggets. Onion nuggets are probably just like onion rings, honestly. Again, like, a lot of potentially vegetarian food out there is fine. It's good. There's some vegan food that's, like, fairly decent, but it's all very expensive, and it's very classist. And I almost said a word that was gonna get me canceled. No. No. I will defend people's right to eat meat until I stop breathing. As somebody who is currently learning the delicate art of butchery at the moment, I find it imperative. What's the word, boss? Expensive? Yeah, we can say expensive. I feel like I'd like to try crocodile meat. I feel like crocodile meat would be nice. Vegan food can be delicious, but their insistence on trying to replace meat and animal products with disgusting substitutes is baffling and ridiculous. It's narrow-sighted. Pod life and bug diet's the way of the future. Soylent Green is people! Crocodile meat. How about alligator? Yeah, sure. I'd be down for gator. I'd be down for gator. Again, there's most animals I would give a try. Hell, if it was processed properly, raised clean, was parasite free, and cooked properly, I'd even try like rat or mouse. Like, genuinely. If I knew that it wasn't like a sewer rat, like it was like raised properly, fed properly, cleaned, like any other thing. Because what is a rabbit but a very large rodent? And I eat rabbit all the time. Best vegan food is the ones that weren't originally created to be vegan. Like a lot of Italian food that originally didn't use meat. Okay, well, a lot of Italian food isn't vegan, though. A lot of Italian food is vegetarian. The difference is the use of animal products versus the use of animal products and meat. Like, vegetarians will still use milk, and they'll still use eggs, right? And a lot of Italian food, I feel like, uses, like, cheese and stuff like that. Milk, eggs, secondary things. Whereas vegans will go, no, none of that. None of that. I'm too good for that. KATYA Sable's organic rat burgers from execution to table. Zing. Likes this thing to avoid making a beaver joke. I will have you know that beaver meat is tough and disgusting.
Oh really? Eat Mambo right now and I fear.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't tempt me. I'll do it. Come back here. You come back here. He's got a fighting spirit. You get back here. Man, this fat little bastard can run. I'll try it later when he's not looking. There you are. Oh, you're gonna go hide behind chat? Coward. You think they're gonna protect you? Fine. Fine. I'll get you later. Probably rolling better than running. I will defend Mambo with my life. You guys are fucking pussies. Just one bite, one nibble. I'm so curious. I will happily lay down my life to protect Mambo. Alright. Katya, you got pennies worth. Put Mambo down clean. That is true. Hey, you fat little bastard. Give me my debut cover back. Debut cover and dinner. Where'd he go? Ah! Where? Ah! Fine. Fine. Have it your way. Fine. I'll just eat another rat. You stupid piece of shit. Mambo's unnatural doing a Matrix. Bro knows Kung Fu. Ah. I gotta stretch. Anyway. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Yeah, I got all the ranting out of my system. My bitching and moaning about vegans. I got all the main points I wanted to yell about across, I think. There's really nothing else I could say at the moment. Not without stats, not without graphs, not without illustrations. But I feel like my main point came across. This is I fucking hate the term yap, by the way. I actually genuinely have grown to despise it. Initially, when it was circulating the VTubing community, I thought, oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, I can say the word yap. But I see everybody say yap all the time, and it is so stupid. It is so brain dead. Like, yeah, you're yapping. Yeah. It's just like, oh, shut up, you annoying piece of shit. Like, is anyone else just fatigued by that term? Like, does that not annoy anyone else? It's so quirk-chungus.
Very cute and very violent.
Hey, thank you. Like, no, like, yap invokes the same primal rage inside of me that an elderly person going, oh my gosh, that's such a cute pupper doggo, does. It scratches all the wrong parts of my brain. Feel the same with slob. Yeah, like, I feel like when Pyrocynical said it initially, all those years ago, it was fun because I'd never heard anyone call any kind of content slop before, and it was kind of his term to me. But then everybody started saying it, and it's like, I'm guilty of also saying those terms, I'm not gonna lie. But that's just because it's part of the modern vernacular. It's just there on baseline. And I don't like that anymore. Not to be like, I'm not like other girls. Because, you know, to be fair, I'm not. I'm an evil yelf. I've got a gun. I'm gonna kill you and your family. I'm gonna harvest your organs and sell them on the market to clear your debt.
Knife her on the jaw, Jack, again.
But, yeah, like, what is this yap slop? Like, speak fucking Imperial Standard, you stupid piece of shit. I can't handle you. I'm Quirk Chungus Slop Pilled for real, on God, no cap, all brim. All facts, no printer. Ah, wah, 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 wah. Like, get bent. The language is changing and I don't like it. My generation's English was the best of all time. Keck W. I'm for the metric system. Ah. One thing I will say that I'm very guilty of doing is saying abbreviations out loud. Like LOL, Keck W, or Lamau. There was one I used the other day and somebody called me out for it. I said SMH my head. And somebody got mad at me because it's just like, this makes it shake my head, and just shut up. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Wait, Chungus is still relevant? It's been 6 or 7 years since Big Chungus was relevant. Oh, no. So, Quirk Chungus is like the slur used for millennial white women.
You know we're all here for the Sable Slop.
R.I.P. in peace. Rip in peace. I still say eat. Okay, here's the thing. So, Quirk Chungus is like supposed to represent the millennial white woman who is some form of socially dissolvent, doesn't have any kids, has a bunch of cats, probably works in HR or in an art field. Their whole personality is TV shows like Friends or anime, but not like good anime, but anime that they can police. They usually were on Tumblr, and they're very quirky. They're very quirky. You know, they are the people that go pupper doggo, you know. And typically, they are slightly overweight, and that is where Chungus comes from.
Can you put Chubba on that list?
Can you put a VTuber on that list? What, the cannibalism list? Why they try to be interesting instead of being interesting? Yes. Yes. Pretty exclusively. Katya, say, just let it happen in a whisper again like that. No, Argent Warlock, I'm not gonna let you finish. I want you to kill yourself right now. Right in front of me. Make my day! Morning, boss. So Twilight teen girls who grew up physically are Quirk Chunguses. Yeah, kinda. The most insufferable millennial white woman you've ever met. And you know what? Sometimes they're not even ugly or overweight. Sometimes they are using Stanley Cups. And they've got 2 kids called Brentley and McCainla. Are vegans vegan? Oh god, I hope not. What's the reward on that wanted poster? I don't even know. Let me take a check. It's enough.
Oh, I think this also applies to Tumblr chicks.
Now they're Labubu adults. The Labubu thing has extended past the Quirk Chung guy. It's infested every kind of things. I find that a lot of the online LGBT circles really like Labubu's, and I don't understand why. A lot of content creators also like Labubu's. When I went to Offkai this last year, so many of my peers in the VTubing space had a fucking Labubu, and I didn't get it. There was a guy at the special industry event I went to, like a prominent VTuber who was just sitting in the corner, not talking to anybody, and he was holding his Labubu like for dear life. Like he was holding it like somebody was gonna steal it from him. It was bizarre. There's also Gavish Battle just aura farming, but he always fucking aura farms. Labubu equal Pazuzu. Oh, I've seen that. And then it's the fucking Emperor's New Clothes picture of Brendan Urie. Passed a chocolate shop this morning and they had a chocolate Labubu displayed in the window. I think the Labubu's dead now. Like, genuinely, I think the trend is over. No Labubu. No, thank you. I don't understand the Labubu craze. I also didn't understand the Stanley craze. It's a different side of culture that we just are not exposed to, I think. There is a poverty mindset that people who do not come from wealth or come from good financial training have, where once they actually find some wealth, they spend it immediately. Like, it is I finally have money to spend and I've never had it before, and it's not going to stick around. There is nothing to save. It is such a microscopic amount. I am going to get a small earthly pleasure. What is trendy right now that will make me feel better? It is a very short-sighted way to see your life, and it is a little depressing. But due to the nature of the financial collapses that have happened over the last 50 years, multiple times, over and over and over again, so many people had really, really empty childhoods. And so this is their way to kind of fill that void. Remember Stanley Cups, how people claim to be environmentally friendly from buying 10 of them and threw them all away after a month? Oh my god. Thrift stores are disgusting right now. Yeah, but you know, it's not like you're destined to be financially illiterate if you grew up without money. Like, that is just a very specific kind of person. And they're more a victim of circumstance and lack of training than they are stupid. Because very intelligent people fall victim to really bad mindsets and can be trained out of it, or they have to be stuck in a really, really bad situation of their own creation and come to the realization organically. No. But it is a very much snake-eating tail thing, because a lot of times people just don't realize, and they pass on bad financial situations to their children, thinking that they'll never escape out of it. It's quite depressing, really. My eternal fight with vegans. What kind of stream is this? Oh, we had the epic battle in the first half of stream, and I think I won. There are people that grew up without money that are good with money now because they learned the value of it and treat it with respect. Yes, that is the other side of the coin. Again, like I briefly mentioned, it's like a not blanket mindset, but there is enough people out there where it is like a real phenomena. I'm the opposite of most of these in situations. I think I grew up poor as fuck and now I hoard my money. I'm gonna say this, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but bad financial decisions in that kind of thing, in wealth and security, are very often done by women. It is almost an exclusively female phenomena. Unless, of course, the guy is doing substance abuse. It's a very female thing to go, I just need a little treat to get through my day. I just need a little special pick-me-up. I deserve this. I've earned a little treat because I've existed. And this is more of an observation thing. You don't know about car guys, huh? Well, no, guys like to spend their money on different things, for sure. And there are wasteful guys out there. But, like, statistically, women are more likely to just blow on bullshit. Like, and by bullshit, I mean, like, the tiny bullshit. Not, like, big bullshit. Guys will spend money on large, high-ticket, high-value items that they may not need. Like, they might buy, like, let's say, a dirt bike, right? But more often, a woman will be like, oh, well, I will just buy hyper-expensive coffee once a day, every day, or twice a day, every day, for a couple of months, and waste the same amount of money. Right? Or they'll be like, I want to collect every color of Labubu. And so then they buy like 100 mystery boxes worth $50 each because they keep getting the wrong color. Right? Or I want to get the newest crumble cookie drop. And so every week they spend like $100 on overpriced, massive cake-sized cookies. Right? Whereas guys, they're more like, you know, I'm going to buy 10 video games that I'm never going to play. And they're all $40 each. And then they sit on that for like 6 months. Or they'll go, oh, I'll just buy a big vehicle and it's going to be like $100,000 and I'm going to like rot. I mean, men are huge gamblers compared to women on the other hand. Exactly, you're my best customers! Listen, I'll get to my backlog eventually. Yeah, Vivid, I was targeting you, yes. God knew I would waste my money on Transformers figures, so he forced me into a third world country. So yeah, no, a wasteful mindset exists all across the board, but it's different. It shows itself in different ways. The man who spent $5,000 on a PC and isn't even a content creator. Exactly! Guys waste on big things, women waste on a billion small things. I guess it makes some sense. I'm one of the people who crawled out of poverty, and I absolutely have a problem with impulse spending, usually on food that ends up hoarded. I don't know. I feel regardless of how you deal with coming out of poverty, no matter what your situation is, even if it's good, even if it's bad now, it's still reflective of who you are as a person and your personal tragedies. I feel so bad for people that are in survival mode, even though they live comfortably now, because they feel like things will disappear. That is very much so a famine mindset. And also, I feel bad for people that, you know, are stuck in poverty and stay in poverty because they don't realize some basic financial things. Because none of the people in these instances are inherently stupid or even naive. They are just either financially illiterate or hyper-paranoid. I would like to talk to the financial audit guy. Like the guy that screams at the guy that screams at idiots that keep buying multiple vehicles and earthly pleasures instead of paying off their school loans. I would love to talk to that guy. I'm usually financially smart, but recently I bought a 2K magnetically levitating display. Was that a wasteful purchase? Logan, again, women like to buy 100 little Labubus for $50 each. You like to buy a 2K magnetically levitating display. People will waste their money in very different ways. Caleb Hammer. Yeah, Caleb Hammer. 7,000 Labubu's. It is a rad display. It literally floats. It's like I'm a wizard or something. I mean, hey, I won't knock it. That does sound dope as fuck. I kinda envy, and I wish I had something like it, but also I really don't need one. I've got Arcana wielders that can do that shit for me. I waste my money on VTubers. Oh, I better shut up. I don't criticize because I know if I had the money, I'd spend it on guitars. You see, all of my money ends up going back into the business, baby, and I do mean that unironically. All of my money goes back into my business.
Imagine wasting money on super chats.
Yeah, imagine, S-Men. Can you imagine? Can you imagine supporting a local business with your super chats? I can't imagine doing something like that. I'm late. What's the conversation topic? I've exhausted my anger towards vegans. A lot of these rant barcasts are kind of stream of consciousness, conversational. And they start with like a main topic and then they devolve after about an hour. Right now we're talking about business, baby! We're talking about money! We're talking about how people waste money.
At least my plastic crack gets used in games instead sitting on a shelf and collect dust.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
You are correct. I have 10k worth of crap at home that I barely touched, but I thought was a great buy at the time. Again, it's just a human nature kind of thing. It's not a judgment, you know?
Imagine.
You guys. So I, the great Katya Sable, have a birthday coming up soon. Speaking of supporting the local business. And, it's been pretty intense planning for it.
Any ideas for poor financial decisions?
I would say invest in stocks, but that's not a poor financial decision if you invest in the right one. I unironically have been, like, doing some day trading in my off time.
I hit the button on accident.
Oh no, Logan, whatever shall you do? I will consume, the fruits of your, accident. Sable coin. No. No, I've been quite fascinated with the stock market recently, and I've been looking at some crypto. I'm never going to endorse any crypto. Genuinely. But I will...
always has the edge, so I might as well surrender this now.
Yo, the house is edging? That's crazy. But yeah, no, I've been playing the crypto market for a little bit, and I've been having a lot of fun. Been making a coin here and there. Nothing substantial, because you need to have a certain eye, a certain quality, and a lot of time to do it effectively. But, I don't know, I like playing a little bit of gamba. Get frustrated with stocks because it's not a lot of instant gratification. I'm too impatient. Crypto's like built to be a scam the more I learn about it. Yeah, you have to either be really on top of it or you're going to get the rug pulled from underneath you and you're going to deserve the financial rape that you get. You have to not... Again, it's like any other gamble. Do not put in more than you're willing to lose. And I typically only put in like microscopic amounts.
You play guitar? I enjoy violin.
I play piano. I've actually, I'm classically trained. 13 years of professional piano training. I wish I could play violin. I genuinely wish I could play violin. I've also got some compositional training. And I am licensed to teach piano. I'm a pianist. Yeah, I'm a pianist. I'm a pianist. I meddle with the bass. That's crazy. We could build a band. We're getting the band back together. Well, I'm afraid of the stock market because of childhood trauma, broken family, and it's not the sole reason, but I'm afraid of it. It's genuinely very fair to be afraid of something as all-encompassing as the stock market. It's a bit of a bizarre thing, truly. And I would never besmirch somebody for not wanting to indulge in it. You need a license to teach piano? Oh, you got a piano license? Not necessarily. The license just means that you have an accreditation from a specific kind of governmental academy. I'm not going to say which one. But basically, it just means that you get a fancy piece of paper on your wall. And so, while anybody can teach piano if they know it, you getting lessons from a teacher with a license means that you can participate in professional competitions, and you can also use that to go towards your own accreditation, your own learning. Yes. The financial ASMR is awesome. That's crazy. So like a degree in a way. Yeah, basically. Really? Even though you never touched piano before? What are you talking about? I've played it for 13 years. Like I mentioned, someone has tried to do the long con of trying to teach piano when they obviously can. I'm not... You mean can't? Or do you mean can? I think the meaning of that message is lost on me. Even art needs a license now. Well, not necessarily. Again, it's like you can do all of these things without the degree, but for things like piano competitions where you get graded and also where you get like official like level registrations, because there is such a thing in certain piano systems, you have to get that from a licensed teacher because they can actually, you know, have empirical proof and evidence of the certain milestones that you've hit that they can give the governing body for piano. No, I said people like me never touched before. Ah, yes.
This is a question I ask my homies. What is the minimal amount of resources you would need to feasibly take on the entirety of Hogwarts?
That's an interesting one. What is the minimal amount? What's the minimal amount of resources you would need to feasibly take on the entirety of Hogwarts? Well, there's a few different ways you could approach that question. You could go like a classic, well, you need, you know, resources, this, that, the other thing. I personally think that just like one bomb. You just need one well-placed bomb at the right time and without giving anybody any warning at a certain structural beam. Just make the structural beam explode. Kill all the wizards. Just like that. Just crush them in. Just crunch them in like a tinfoil ball. What are they going to do? Stop you? Make the building pieces float? They don't have time for that. I don't know. Like, pull a 9/11 and, like, crash an airplane into it. Like, a second plane has hit the twin spire. Yeah. Yeah, just 9/11 Hogwarts, and then you're good. They got a couple spells that can stop debris. But yeah, only a couple. Not, like, enough to stop the amount of debris I'm gonna throw at them. Mr. President, a second plane has hit Hogwarts. I don't know. How do you defeat Hogwarts? Just write a better book. Behold, my most powerful weapon of all. Most powerful spell. This is why they don't allow Americans in Hogwarts. This is why the redheaded twins were a menace, because they were constantly pulling, like, shit that could destroy all of the place, you know? Like they were throwing explosions and stuff. Might have no spells, but I'm not out of shells. Katya, smile. Smile for darkness. I love my JP viewers. I love all three of you. I love all three of my JP viewers. We love Japan over here. I wish the best for Japan's immigration crisis. I hear that things are very, very scary over there right now. I like they had magic, but the Irish wizard family was still poor. Lamau. Don't you know that the Irish aren't human? All right. Fun fact, I'm not from Japan. I'm Malaysian. Really? I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known because you have Japan. I mean Japan. You have Japanese in your username. But always good to have a Malay here. Ship a thesis, but for nations, Japan. That's crazy. I could get into it. I could get into it. I could get into immigration, and I will. Just not today. In that case, Katya has 2 Japanese viewers. Katya pulling a racism? No way. I'm not racist. I am a human supremacist. I am all for humans. She's gonna glow. What's that mean, huh? What's that mean? I'm too busy trying to run an honest establishment. I will take anybody's money. I don't care where they're from. If they're giving me a dime, they get my time. Oh no, she's gonna repeat the debut incident. There was no debut incident. I'm not racist. I'm speciest. I'm speciest. Yeah, I'll take it. Those dirty yelves and those fuck-ass dragons. Katya hiatus incoming. Stream just dies on the spot. Katya had a debut? What are you talking about? You'll take anyone's money because I have some that needs laundering. Ah, I do love a little bit of house cleaning. I'm tubist. That's insane. Alright, if you're tuberist, tell me your most VTuber racist take. I want you guys to be... Tell me your most disgusting hot VTuber takes. I am very curious. Because I have some. I have some. Dragonoids. Turns out Miss Hawthorne is touchy about that. Oh, dragons? Yes. Pink woman commit the most VTuber crimes. That's hardly a hot take. It's because, okay, here's the thing. Most of the VTubers that commit heinous shit are pink, but most female VTubers are pink. So it's more of a per capita kind of thing. I think purple dudes are overdone. Well, again, it's like purple demon male and pink cat girl. Those are like the two most common versions of VTubers. I like blue women for VTubing, but blue women is also fast kind of catching up to pink woman in VTubing. It's always inevitable that the space would have so much mean girl passive aggressive infighting when it's nothing but women and gay men. No, you're right, and you should say it. This space is full of catty bitches sometimes. Knifeeaters are just envious dragons or higher up in the ladder than them below superior humans list. Andal. Stay dead. Non-anime VTubers try hard to be cutesy and they become less than appealing. Try hard not to be cutesy and they become less than appealing. Non-anime VTubers are interesting because as a phenomena, they could do something good in the space. And there are some out there that are very interesting. But majority of them have a stick up their ass about trying to be so different, so to speak. Like, they want to join in on VTuber culture, but then they don't want to participate in the culture of it itself. And then they get upset when they have no viewership.
My hot take is that men shouldn't have female models.
I think that's an interesting hot take. I think with the space politically, the way it is now, it's a bit confusing when men have female models and when women have male models, but I do think that there is a place for them. I do think that they should exist. The issue is when it's not disclosed, because then you're stuck with the nebulous, ever-floating question of, oh, is this going to be somebody that's going to be mad if I misgender them, right? Because if they don't disclose, no, I'm a guy using a female model, and they sound like a guy, but they're using a female model, are you supposed to assume based off the model or based off the voice? And for every person, it's different. So I think they should exist, but they need to exist differently.
What's the most out-of-pocket fun fact you know?
The most out-of-pocket fun fact. That the human body has about 5.5 liters of blood in it for the average adult. Dr. Miss the Monarch has given me feelings for women teeth boys. Interesting. Yeah, but how else will male VTubers attract viewers? Hey, first time catching a stream and late to get here. I'm at work and just got a chance to stop by. Hope everyone's having a great day. Ah, you missed me yelling about vegans and then talking about crypto and the stock market.
Did you know that Ayumi One-Eason graduated?
Yes. Yes, I did, Danger Noodle. I mean, Joel Porcelain made us a whole lore about he's a dude, got isekai'd into a female maid doll. Yeah, no, like, again, there is a place for guys with female models, right? They just need to, there needs to be a culture of non-deception, right? And it's not even deception, it's deception by lack of clarity. Like, if you are a, let's say, somebody who is transgender and you want to be in the opposite sex model, this will probably be like one of the few times where you can look exactly the way that you've ever wanted to, but your voice is just still unfortunately the way it was before, you know? In that case, you either need an identifier or you need to be understanding. And it is a lot to ask of people to get mad at their assumptions if their assumptions are quote-unquote wrong. People are nervous and people don't like actually pissing others off. It's just a very volatile culture. And so when you've got just a random guy who's just a guy, like Joel Porcelain made, in a woman-like avatar, but he's still very clearly a guy and says he's a guy, what do? What do you assume? Because you don't want to step on people's toes. And in the end, it just drives viewers away, I think. And I think it's unfortunate, but like any buff that a guy with a female model has, for the sake of having a buff or because he wants to play a female character, gets lost if they're not upfront about why they are using the model. And you know what? They don't have to be upfront. It is entirely up to them. But then people have to realize that this is just the consequence of how the space operates. It's not like a value judgment on their character. It's just how things happen. Live omission, yeah. Hot take, I think VTubers only exist because they didn't have enough close friends. Anyway. What are your thoughts on male VTubers that have models of women holding their avatar? Best example I know is the art of Ronnie Illist. Oh, you mean... I guess Neurosama is kind of like that. Like, because Beetle is like a little turtle that sits on Neurosama. And Neurosama is the VTuber itself. But they're both technically different, but the same VTuber. I don't know, I think that's kind of a fun kitsch idea. Yeah. Parrot 4chan does it too. I think the people that do the best in the VTubing space are those who are always upfront with their intentions, regardless of their presentation, regardless of how they put themselves out there. If they are earnestly making content and they are not alienating their own community, then they will go far. And there is so much you can do to accidentally alienate a community. Even just being aggressive once is enough to wreck your chances. So, that's where I stand on the whole thing. Alright, what other VTuber hot takes? Vegans, they really don't like me because I like to post hunting pics and replies in their posts. I mean, I'm all for taking the piss out of vegans. But come on. The thing that pisses off a vegan more than you posting animal gore in their replies is literally just existing. Posting gore in their replies makes them feel validated. It makes them feel like they have a purpose. Ignoring a vegan makes them angrier than actually confronting a vegan, because vegans want attention. If we judge VTubers for using parasocialism to their benefit, then we should also judge Hollywood for being the same for decades. I agree. Hot takes. VTubers don't police their own enough. There are so few truly unique designs these days, and most VTubers cover similar content to the point where it's monotonous. I've said this before in a different way, but a lot of VTuber content is very incestuous in that VTubers content, target other VTubers, so to speak. They will make content going, tips for VTubers. Hey, VTubers, do this. VTubers, do that. Hey, other VTubers, talk to me here. And again, it's all about isolating. They all isolate potential audiences because they're so focused on things that don't matter. No. Those conversations that they're having out in the open should be had behind the scenes, not because it needs to be kept away from the public, but because if you make that all of your content, the only other people that are going to watch you are going to be VTubers, and any VTuber worth their salt is not actually watching a ton of content. They are busy making their own content. So ultimately, your strategy is garbage. It's not going to last. Big VTuber corporates can afford to abandon Twitch, YouTube, and make their own streaming platform. I don't think so. Not yet. I still don't think that we're there in the industry. I still think, honestly, I personally think that VTubers and companies should start, like, not moving over entirely, but should start restreaming to places like Kick and Rumble. Politics be damned, it's not about the politics of these sites, because, I mean, if that was the case, I mean, you could also co-stream to, like, Twitter, and to, I don't think Blue Sky is a Twitch, like, a streaming feature, but I think more large companies need to facilitate accounts on more than Twitch and YouTube. Because Twitch and YouTube are getting too big for their britches, and they are cannibalizing themselves. And the audiences on these other platforms may be smaller, but they are just as valuable as an investment and, in general, as a storage place for the content, because we cannot guarantee that places like YouTube will last forever. And even now, they're in an eternal fight with the content creators on the website. Yes. I'm interested in potentially seeing what avenues exist. I think Rumble's off the table because of Dr. Disrespect, respectfully. Okay, but then Kick is off the table because of its gambling and because it has other unsavory individuals. If we're taking whole platforms off the table because of certain creators, then nobody should ever be on YouTube, because every bad creator under the sun, including Dr. Disrespect for a while, was here and on Twitch. Like, that is a non-argument, because that position can be fought for every single platform out there. I think what's better is to actually bring high-quality content to these websites and drown out the bad, low-quality content and make it irrelevant. Instead of making those places known for bad content, they need to be known for quality, better content. That is the only way to make places like that sustainable. If people avoid it because one content creator went on there once, then the only people that are ever going to go on there are the people like that one content creator, and its reputation will go from neutral to perpetually getting worse and worse and worse. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is, and I won't know what the right answer is until the cows come home, right? Until the end of the day, when all the questions have been asked and answered. But I can speculate. Gambling mentioned. Yeah! Hot take. I'm sick and tired of the current growing trend of VTubers getting 2.0 models that are objectively worse than their first or previous model. Now, worse is subjective. I've been around the block for a long while, and a lot of times people will get very emotionally attached to the model that they found first, if that makes sense. It doesn't matter what the style is, be it good or bad. People get attached to what they discover and what they're initially attracted to. So no matter what the quality of life upgrade is, people will not like it, unless it is the same artist. And that is just the nature of things. A lot of times content creators, when they go to a 2.0, It's because they've had it planned for a long time, and maybe they themselves really like the style, and it's one they would have wanted to have for their 1.0 in general. It's less of a trend and more of a... Let me put it this way. A lot of times when people do 1.0s, they do it on a restricted budget. Their very first VTuber, unless they are really insane or they're in a position of financial privilege, they are min-maxing their finances. Absolute best they can do for their tiny budget. When the opportunity arrives to go bigger, a lot of times it's, well, the kind of content I can make is restricted because maybe my rigging is really stiff and so I'm super expressionless. Or there's the artist that I've been waiting for years. They finally have a wait list open and so they swap out. And that is with the intention of, well, this will theoretically help my content. It will make me do better. It will give me more flexibility to create the things that I want. It will make me a model sibling of one of my favorite VTubers. Like, there's many reasons people upgrade to 2.0s. But that doesn't always resonate with audiences. And it never will resonate with every person. A lot of times people will go, wow, I like your old model better. Wow, your old model was so much better. It suited your voice better. And sometimes it's true, but regardless of whether or not it is, the person behind the 2.0, the person who has been emotionally attached to this upgrade, is probably going to feel like insane amounts of offense. Like they're going to feel distraught, because they spent like maybe a year of their life and all of their finances and emotional labor into putting this together, thinking that this would help them. And so typically that is why you see crash outs, especially on Twitter, when people upgrade to 2.0 and others go, well, I like your old one better and that's just my opinion. Because it doesn't feel like an opinion, it feels like a personal attack to the content creator that put all of their physical and emotional labor into a tool that they assumed was going to fix their life. But I will agree, like, sometimes it is a downgrade, like, visually. Like, I personally do agree that that is a phenomena. I do see some VTubers where I go, wow, your old design was a little cleaner. It had better shapes. It was more unique. It had better colors. I liked the artist better. The rig was smoother. It connected with your voice better. But typically, VTubers who are piloting the model will definitely not want to hear that unless they have asked. And so, as a respect thing, I try to gas people up, but I've definitely dropped a creator or two because I no longer connect with the model. It's a human nature kind of thing. Like, Girl DM. I love Girl DM. I love Girl DM to the moon and back, but she is an example of a creator that got multiple different models, and every single time, she not only changed the art style and the rig style, she actually changed the whole character design. And every time she would lose a huge chunk of her audience because nobody could connect anymore with her. Like, initially she was very gremlin-like in 3D, and then she was very super cutesy-like in 2D, and the people that were there for the gremlin were kind of put off. And some people stayed for the cutesy, and then she built up a new cutesy audience, and then she went mommy sexy villainess. And that isolated both her gremlin and her cute audience, because nobody was expecting that, nobody wanted that. They came there for those other two previous brands. So she is the most egregious example of a moderately sized to big VTuber that I think has committed like a branding suicide based on previous models. And you know what? Here's the thing. She probably thought every single one of those models were going to be the next big thing in her career. She probably poured like no less than like $10,000 to $15,000 into each one of those models. And she probably loved every single one of them. But that doesn't mean that people can't have an opinion. I'm sure, though, that it's kept her up at night. If I was in her position, I know it would keep me up at night, seeing people go, actually, I liked your previous one better, after dropping, like, over $15,000. I think she has my respect, but again, even I stopped watching her because I was there for her 3D. I really liked her 3D, and I don't connect to her villainous model, which is ironic because I typically love villainous models, but like it doesn't feel like the creator that I initially was engaged with. And that will always happen, no matter what. Even if the 2.0 that a creator goes with is only slightly different, it's very difficult to please everybody. So what's important as a VTuber is to understand that, to come to terms with that, come to peace with that, and to not feel great offense. Because more often than not, people are not actually being cruel and vitriolic. They're just being a little careless. I honestly prefer VTuber as a good voice over their model. A prime example of this is UX. You're entitled to a rebrand, just don't be mad the audience prefers the old brand. I think it has to be an awareness from both sides. Again, yes, you shouldn't be upset the audience prefers the old brand, but at the same time, I think it is well within the creator's right to feel hurt that their efforts feel unrecognized, so to speak. Because a lot of times creators are very excited about their 2.0 and they put down payment on a fucking house on that thing. So I feel like people are reasonable enough to be upset when people don't respond the way they want them to. Her 3D was the most expressive from what I can tell. The later models were far less expressive. While being impressive in their own ways, I think expressiveness is the most important. Oh, absolutely. Like, that was a big priority for me personally when preparing for my Variance debut. Now, here's the thing. I'm just this way naturally. I live this way, body and soul. In Ferris, but to represent myself accurately, through the portal, through the streaming equipment, we had to do very specific things for artists and riggers. And for me, my priority wasn't art, my priority was rig. I was given the ability to pick any artist to represent myself that I wanted, and any rigger. And I went, okay, what riggers can do what I want them to, because I want to have almost equivalent visual mobility that I would have if I was 3D. I mean, 2D, there's some, nuances that are lost, and so I needed to have maximum flexibility. So that was really important to me. When Katya gets a 2.0 brush up, that will still be a priority. It will always be a rigging flexibility. But I know that a lot of people, visual is the initial priority. And so when visual is the initial priority, that always means that if and when you decide to get a secondary model, that you can't kind of live up to the first one. Whereas if you've got a very average but nice style, any kind of upgrade, it's a bit easier for people to stomach. Do you think you'll ever get a 3D Katya model? I wonder. Imagine Fillion rebranding with a mommy model. I have opinions about Fillion. I have opinions about Fillion. I will say, in another life, ideally, my model artist would have been Rosary, but she wasn't taking model commissions at the time. I've always wanted to have a little more of a cutesy face, but like still able to do this. I think ultimately I ended up with a wonderful model mama, and so I'm actually very happy the way I am. But in the far future, if I ever got a 2.0, I would probably be similar proportion, but like slightly more anime polish. I have been told straight up, like both in my DMs and like I've seen it in various places, that people think that I have the ugliest model. And it fascinates me a little bit. But I'm happy with it. Because I can do this. Fillion is the Switzerland of VTubers. That's a fascinating... I'm curious as to why you consider her to be the Switzerland of VTubers. Isn't Switzerland supposed to be a neutral ground? And isn't she kind of like a battleground? Fillion was made for 3D. Oh, absolutely. Fillion's opinions are like STDs. Everyone has had one at least once. No, not everyone has had an STD at least once. Because I'm better than all of you. You can't have an STD if you've never had sex. Who's the North Korea of VTubing then? North Korea has a VTuber. Like, unironically. Hold on. Let me pull it up. North Korean VTuber. I know that, like, Pippa Pipkin talked about wanting to collab with her. Where is she? Oh, that's kind of crazy. There is 10 North Korean YouTubers. Hold on. Man, I can't find the account. I'm gonna have to click a random YouTube video to figure this out. YouTuber, not VTuber. Okay, her name is Study Jushi. Joshi? Hold on. Study Jush. I mean, she's kind of cute. Save. Okay, let's pull open that image real quick. Okay, so this is the North Korean VTuber. Study Jushi. Joshi? Hold on, I'm trying to... Wasn't the North Korea VTuber actually a European LARPer? Was it? I would have no idea. I'm gonna be entirely honest. It's literally Kim with a voice changer. That's crazy. Study Jushi, I'm trying. Is the Joshi is the ideology of NK, something like Stalinism but more cult-like. Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, no, I had no idea. I don't know. Do you guys want our next barcast to be like going into North Korea? I think that could be fun. Next barcast, let's talk about North Korea. Juche. Ah. It's a bit generic and uninspired. Where's its evil dictator uniform? Well, that's the thing. How are you going to appeal to the Westerners if they think that you're scary, huh? You gotta be cute and non-scary, non-threatening. Hot take. I'm happy Pip is going through her girl improvement arc, but her content was a lot more interesting when she was a girl failure. Hardly a hot take. That seems to be the general consensus I see these days. Have you heard of Common America? Of course I've heard of Common America. I've talked to Flork. Next North Korean Supreme Leader will be an anime girl. Real. I want a Red Bull VTuber. I think I'm about ready to finish for the day. Oh, oops. I was trying to zoom in. Speaking of questionable VTuber designs, I miss Zentreya's previous Soviet-inspired dominatrix outfit and Russian accent. V-Shoujo really changed Zentreya. I'm not sure how to feel about current day Zentreya. Big boss! Yeah, let's see where we wanna... Let's... Is there anybody to raid right now? Looks like Kana is live. Alright, everybody. Rats, where the rats? And I will see you soon. Wowee, I'm so excited to go on my vacation to North Korea. I'm sure nothing bad can come of this. Oh, you want me to go behind this shed? Sure, military officer with a very large gun. Oh, what am I looking at behind this shed?